The World Cup of Hockey was born from the long tradition of international hockey competition. Formerly known as the Canada Cup, it began in 1976. Names part of hockey lore such as Bobby Orr, Darryl Sittler, Wayne Gretzky, and Mario Lemieux have starred in the tournament. In 1996, the inaugural World Cup of Hockey was played with the United States coming out on top. Today, we begin the second World Cup of Hockey with the best players from the NHL and the world representing their countries for the right to be called the world's best hockey team. Welcome to the Toyota World Cup of Hockey. Barry Melrose, the coach, is back. I'm David Amber. Great to have you along. The next 2 weeks going to be very exciting right here on the ESPN family of networks. Just 2.5 months ago, it was Tampa Bay and Calgary fighting for NHL supremacy and a Stanley Cup. Now, Barry, we have 8 countries fighting for world supremacy. What kind of hockey are we going to be seeing? And actually, 14 players from Tampa Bay and Calgary in this tournament, so you see how they really spread out the wealth in the NHL. But I really think, and I know this is the best hockey that's ever going to be played. The Olympics is great, and we love the Olympics, but this hockey suits the NHL player much better. Played on a smaller ice surface, NHL rinks. Played in NHL rules, which will help a lot. Intensity will be there. A lot more hitting, a lot more physical play. More goal-scoring chances. There won't be more goals because of the quality of the goaltending, but more goal-scoring chances because of the size of the ring. Penalty killing be more aggressive. I just think this hockey suits the NHL player better, the size and strength and speed of our athletes, and I think it's a great showcase for these talented guys. Best hockey ever played in the world will be played in the next 2 weeks. Coach is getting excited because these are all the skilled players that you like to see in the NHL. And here's how it stacks up. There's 2 pools consisting of 4 teams each. The European pool, Czech Republic, Finland, Germany, and Sweden. It's a weaker pool, David, with Germany in there. They're certainly not the quality of the other 7 teams. In the North American pool, you have the United States, the defending champs, Canada, Russia, and Slovakia. Not really in North America, but for the sake of this tournament, they will be. And my underdog team is Slovakians. I think this team, no one's given them any credit, but I think with their talent, if they get goaltending, could easily upset a lot of high-priced teams. You talked about a possible upset. Who's the front runner? Who's the favorite to walk away with the championship? Well, the country where we're both from, Canada, is the favorite. With the lineup they got, even without Blake and Pronger, who neither one are going to play, this is an unbelievable team. Marty Brodeur in net. They're getting Luongo ready to be the next great goaltending for Canada. But Canada, depth, talent, size, strength, best team should win the gold if nothing goes wrong. Well, Barry, for the next 2 weeks, this is the place to be for the World Cup of Hockey. Here's how it all lays out for you. Pool play consisting of 3 round-robin games. So you take on those 3 teams in your pool. All teams qualify for the quarterfinals, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, quarterfinals September 6th, semifinals September 10th, and a final at a very loud Toronto September 14th, Barry. In the center of hockey world in Toronto, September 14th. Hopefully we'll be there on site to do the games, but Toronto's going to be rocking. It's a hard ticket to get. The first big game is going to be tomorrow night, Canada against the United States in Montreal. Can't even get a ticket for that in Montreal right now. Every game is huge, but when Canada plays the United States or Canada plays Russia, or the United States play Russia, those are special games that we should all really, really enjoy. And the U.S. begin defense of their championship tomorrow night. Should be very interesting. Jaromir Jagr leading the Czechs. Miikka Kiprusoff between the pipes for Finland. New contract, David. We got a new contract. There it is. Coming up next. Barry Melrose, David Amber, the World Cup of Hockey. The puck's about to drop in Helsinki. Finland taking on the Czech Republic. Let's talk really quickly about the American team, the defending champs. Experienced or old? Experienced, but not in the right place, and that's goaltending. They got 3 young goaltenders. The United States has been lucky. They have Mike Richter for the last 15 years, played all big games, won the 96 World Cup because of his goaltending. They got 3 young guys now that are untested. That is their weakness. They got a veteran defense led by Chris Chelios, Brian Leetch. They got great forwards led by Mike Modano, Billy Guerin, players like that. But in net, they're untested, and this is a tough, tough tournament to be untested in net. Coach, every tournament, someone steps up and becomes a hero. We'll find out who's going to become a hero starting right now. Finland and Czech Republic, Joe Beninati and Neil Smith with our call in Helsinki.
Well, David, thanks. The hockey world comes to life in the next couple of weeks, and Neil, we get it started with the Czechs and the Finns. It was just 2 weeks ago that the entire Czech Republic was rocked by the news of head coach Ivan Hlinka's tragic death, and today we saw the saddened expressions on the players' faces.
We sure did. Now, this will be up to Vladimir Ruzicka to get his team focused hard. A tragedy like this will either make the team focus better or focus worse and dull them out. This will be up to the new coach to make sure that they stay together.
One enormously talented player who had a long-standing relationship with the late Hlinka is Jaromir Jagr. All eyes are going to be focused upon him and his explosive teammates.
Well, certainly the world is going to be focused on Jaromir Jagr. He is one of the very best players in the world. But don't forget that this team has maybe the best and most explosive forwards in the whole tournament. Don't forget about Hajduk, Straka, Elias, and Havlat. All these guys got over 30 goals this season.
Team Finland is always a threat internationally with its terrific work ethic, but the backbone of this World Cup entry lives in the goal crease.
Well, he certainly does. Miikka Kiprusoff showed what he could do in the National Hockey League playoffs. The Calgary Flames rode this guy right through to the finals, took him right to Game 7 before they were eliminated by Tampa Bay.
The excitement is ramping up in Helsinki. When we return live to Hartwall Arena, it's the opening face-off in the 2004 Toyota World Cup of Hockey. The Czechs and the Finns on ESPN next. In Helsinki, Finland, the 2004 variety, this tradition, Neil, this tournament from tradition-rich backgrounds. You think about Canada Cup and all the past Summit Series and Challenge Cups, and we get started with the Czechs and Finns, the Czech Republic in white, Team Finland in the blue.
And the last time these two teams met in a game of any significance was just back in '99 in the World Championships when Czech Republic ended up beating the Finns in overtime for the gold medal.
Jaroslav Spacek plays for Milan Hajduk around the corner curve. It was Jani Niinema just a step late getting there, and offside early going, just 42 seconds into a scoreless opening frame.
Well, Jani Niinema will be depended on a lot by Team Finland. He's tough. He can move the puck, and he's also can really put the body into people.
And Neil, you learned this morning, it's a pack mentality for Team Finland. They want to be aggressive all over the ice for Coach Raimo Suominen.
They sure do. Raimo Suominen wants his team to be quick in between offense and defense. He thinks that's what's going to beat the Czech team, is those couple of seconds in between when you don't have the puck to change quickly.
Salo pinching in deep, rubbed out there by Red Wing defender Yuri Fischer. Centering pass from Peltonen, gobbled up by the netminder Vokoun. Tomas Vokoun between the pipes for the Czechs, and Miikka Kiprusoff in goal for the Finns.
And what you're going to see again from this Finnish team is they're going to be like a bunch of little pit bulls. They're going to get on this Czech team as quick as they can. Take a look at this last opportunity coming out from the corner and trying to put it in front of the net. They're going to be quick to forecheck this Czech team all night long. That's what they got to do. They don't want the Czechs to get possession of the puck and hold on to it.
It'll be a long night if the Czech Republic gets to have it their way. Niko Kapanen into the deep slot. Hagman turns and fires just wide, and a backhanded bid by Kapanen was denied by Vokoun. Nicholas Hagman in the deep slot. Wasacek is there for the Czech Republic, and he'll nudge it back to center. Just more than a minute old in the opening game of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey on ESPN. Aki Berg will play to his partner, Tony Lidman. Scooped ahead to Jukka Hentunen, one of the top scorers in the Swiss Elite League. Hentunen, perhaps a surprise on this Finnish roster, one of the few non-NHLers.
And we've already seen some rough stuff in this opening of this first period, something you probably didn't see in '96 in the World Cup.
Zakora fires one wide. Yuri Dopita is there. Dopita, who played in the NHL in Philadelphia and in Edmonton. Slager bombs away from the point, and that was blocked. And Mikko Eloranta will bring it back for Team Finland. Working wide against Martin Skula. Delayed penalty coming here, and it's whistled at the 2:03 mark. The first power play of the game will be a hooking call.
Patrick Elias is going to take the first penalty of this tournament. He goes in, coming back on the interference call on the back check. It happened in the neutral zone and was picked off by Don Koharski, the veteran referee from the National Hockey League. We take a look at Patrick Elias in an unfamiliar number 62 jersey.
Elias in the penalty box. Team Finland to the power play. Teppo Numminen at one point, Kimmo Timonen the other. Timonen sets in and fires, and it's shrugged away by Vokoun. Teemu Selänne plays it back for Timonen. Long drive, Numminen kicked out of there. Teppo Numminen watching as Saku Koivu curls out of the corner. Very creative playmaker, sets it for Lehtinen, and that is once again gloved by Vokoun.
Well, some pretty skilled players out there for Team Finland on this power play. Let's take a look at Lehtinen. Got the chance. Yuri Lehtinen, the former Selke Trophy winner. from the Dallas Stars got this opportunity as the veteran Teppo Numminen. He's the oldest guy in this hockey game, by the way. Takes the shot, the rebound comes out, and Jiri Lehtinen gets the opportunity.
They scramble off the draw, and then Rashinsky will hoist it all the way. Teppo Numminen is 36 years of age. His dad, the former Finnish Olympic coach. If you're just tuning in, Team Finland in blue, the Czech Republic in white. No score. Joe Beninati, Neil Smith with you in Helsinki. It is Solane with the drive, and Cooley on top of the rebound there. It's the netminder Vokoun.
And boy, would that have ever made this crowd happy here in Helsinki, Finland, to have the cult hero Teemu Solane score on this shot. It's a typical blast by Teemu that Vokoun has no problem with. He sees it all the way.
Teemu Solane, former Rocket Richard Trophy winner. Watching now as the Finnish power play continues for another 1 minute 16 seconds. With Elias off in the penalty box for the Czech Republic. Niinema through a screen, deflected there en route, and turned aside, and back come the Czechs with David Vyborny in charge. Layers it back behind Miikka Kiprusoff, who had a brilliant campaign in Calgary.
Absolutely. The best trade of this National Hockey League season was made by Daryl Sutter when he traded a second-round 2005 draft pick for a guy who was a franchise player the whole time he was in Calgary.
Just terrific. Spot check is there. Niko Kapanen for the Finns. To Peltonen on the outside, deliberately on the power play, Team Finland. Here in Helsinki, the fans putting their hands together. Niinema cross-rank, Salo bombs away. Stopped by Vokoun, rebound! And a diving effort denied Kapanen in tight. Niinema captures again and reloads for Salo. Salo's wicked drive is deflected into the safety netting behind the very low glass here at Hartwall Arena.
We're just going to mention that as we take a look at Kapanen and that opportunity that he just had. Let's take a look at it. Nieminen gets it across the ice. There's the shot. The rebound comes out almost in. This crowd was on the edge of their seats for that one. This is a beautiful arena, the Hartwell Arena. It was only built for the World Championship 6 years ago.
Kimmo Timonen with the last bid. Easy pickings for Tomas Vokoun, who was marvelous in the World Championships for the Czech Republic, and he knows he's the go-to guy for the Czechs.
He certainly was. You take a look at this whole play develop off of the face-off in the right out in between the circles. That's where it happened in the shot, but Vokoun having no problem with anything so far.
Just 10 seconds left in the minor penalty to Elias. Finland on the power play in the scoreless first period. Kimmo Timonen's wrister deflected down. Another scramble for the rebound, and the Czech Republic defense was there. Sakura putting on a crunching hit to Saku Koivu. Timonen back for Saku Koivu once again. Younger brother Mikko Koivu is in the lineup as well. Towards the front, and Vokoun has been a busy boy. This time he answers Teppo Numminen's drive.
He certainly has been, and unfortunately, in this building, the shot clock is not being used, so we can't tell you exactly how many shots that he has stopped, but I can tell you it's a lot. He's stopped at least 6 that I've counted. Take a look at Numminen with a great opportunity here. Solane right on the doorstep, but Vokoun again with that familiar style, covering it up.
Teppo Numminen, Neil, with Dallas. It looks strange to see him in a Stars jersey after so many years with Winnipeg and Phoenix. Martin Skula, who finished up last year's NHL campaign in Anaheim, rims it around the boards and out. Aki Berg will play for Team Finland. 5-on-5 now, even in full strength. Vokoun for Straka. The Czech Republic wants to move it quickly with accurate passes. Jaromir Jagr building up momentum for the neutral zone. Crisscrossing with Straka. The drop for Vyborny got away, and back to center she comes.
And you just saw exactly the difference in style. See, when the Czechs came down the ice, all the great passes they're trying to make and the pretty plays, that's not what the Finns are trying to do. They're just going to be a bunch of bulldogs that try to get the puck into the zone and chip it around.
When we itemized it, Neil, we thought it might be the willpower of the Finns against the skill power of the Czechs.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what Raimo Suominen wants to do. He was talking about them being the underdog today at practice, and he says that's not so bad for our team to come into this tournament as the underdog, as the only team under them in this side of the tournament would be Germany.
Scoreless first period. Lidman for the Finns plays it ahead. Marek Malik, a towering giant on the back line for the Czech Republic, winding it up with Robert Reichel. Reichel is wearing 22, not number 21, the former number of Ivan Halenka, the head coach who passed tragically in an automobile accident 2 weeks ago today.
Although all the Czechs are wearing number 21 in a way, because they all have a patch on their jersey, a number 21 patch again to honor their famous coach, Ivan Halinka.
The Finns will make a line change on the fly as we approach the 6-minute mark of the first period. Jiri Fischer moves it ahead. Beautiful pass, streaking in. And that one is just sent wide as Milan Hajduk found a gap.
And again, you see the skill level of the Czechs with that fantastic breaking pass. And they just slid it wide of Kiprusoff.
And Hajduk, a former 50 goal getter, knows how to put it away. Although his numbers dipped down to 35, all of the Avalanche last year, Neil, found it tough to score.
They sure did. The one thing the Avalanche thought they were going to have a problem with might be goaltending. That wasn't the problem. It was their offense, which was incredible.
Niko Kapanen to the goal mouth and ricochets home. The carom puts Finland on the board. Jukka Hentunen in tight.
Well, you talked about Jukka Hentunen being a great scorer, plays in the Swiss League. Watch this. This is a pretty play. He goes hard to the net, as hard to the net as any Canadian player does. And Hentunen, that's how he scores his goals. We talked about the Finns being a lot of pit bulls that are going to just really try to outwork this very skilled Czech team. And they outworked them on that goal. That's why they scored.
Neil, there are so many players on Team Finland who have worked together, whether it be in past World Championships or in World Juniors. Hentunen and Kapanen have a wonderful chemistry together, and we see it before the game is 7 minutes old.
Absolutely.
1-0 for Team Finland. These two teams met last week in a tune-up game. It was played to a 1-1 draw. It was a very, very physical affair in the Czech Republic. Zidlitsky had the goal for the Czechs. Jere Lehtinen tallied for Finland. Jani Niinema playing defense there with a hard hit into the corner as he flattened Martin Havlat, the speedster for the Ottawa Senators. Solane moving for Eloranta. Lined up there by Radek Dvorak. Centering pass comes all the way to the point. Lidman working away from Straka. Back behind the cage, quick centering pass off the inside of the post. It was Mikko Koivu to Miikka Eloranta. And Vokoun heard a pleasant sound for a goal. 1-0 Team Finland. Jukka Hentunen on the board. As the Finns look to tally once more, another centering try. And the back-checking Czech Republic does the job. Viborny.
The Czechs have to have control of that puck to do their thing. Obviously, that's what they're going to depend on, is get the puck away from the less skilled Finns and just keep control of it.
Jagr looking to cycle. Finns with other ideas as Teppo Numminen will play it clear. Approaching the midway mark of this opening stanza from Helsinki, Finland. Live with you on ESPN, the Toyota World Cup of Hockey 2004. This is Jaroslav Spacek, another offensive-minded defender in back. And interestingly enough, Vladimir Ruzicka scratched Kaberle and Hammerlick today, two offensive-minded guys in back.
And pretty good defensemen at that. But the Finns have done so far what they've had to do, which is get that opening goal and get this crowd on their side. Obviously, a very biased crowd here in the home of Jokerit, the famous team here in Helsinki. There's two teams in Helsinki. IFK, they play at a building a little bit more downtown. And then Jokerit, who plays in this fantastic new building just here on the outskirts of Helsinki.
And you ain't kidding when you say just a little bit of ways. They're less than 2 miles apart.
Well, we know. We took that tram right by it last night.
Back comes Team Czech Republic. Reichel on the dump in. Miikka Kiprusoff has been downright lonely between the pipes for Finland. Vokoun has been very busy at the opposite end. Jukka Hentunen on the board first for Finland. Kiprusoff will wander, play it away from Roshinsky. Around for Hagman and chop back to center.
We should talk, Joe, that all these teams, get into what we would call the playoffs or the elimination games. All four of them get in there. Why you want to win early, like the Finns, is to try to get into first or second place out of the 4 teams and get the home ice advantage for the playoff game.
This is an international game being played with NHL rules, we should remind folks. And also, this building has been retrofit down to 200 by 85. That's not what's normally here.
A little bit wider than 85, actually, but still a lot less space out there than it normally is when Jokerit plays their home games.
Knifing back, it's Elias. Kiprusoff sweeps it to the corner. 1-0 for Finland. Jukka Hentunen on the board from Niko Kapanen. Sami Salo leads the charge for the Finns as Raimo Suominen, their head coach, a coach who has worked through the ranks very, very slowly by the Finnish Hockey Foundation.
He's a guy that left IFK and went to coach Jokerit, which is like someone leaving the Oilers to coach the Flames.
Eloranta leans into a wrister, blocked by Malik, and this one is off the rink for the whistle. It is Finland in front by 1. We continue with the Toyota World Cup of Hockey in a moment.
ESPN's presentation of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey is brought to you by the Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. And Levi's Jeans, a style for every story.
It's the opener of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey 2004, and a very industrious effort for ESPN when you consider that we will telecast games originating from 6 different countries throughout this great event.
And it is a great event. I was involved in '96 with Team Canada. That came right down to the wire. Unfortunately, the team that I was with, I must have jinxed Team Canada because we lost to USA.
You work in a general manager's role for that team. How difficult is it to keep everybody happy?
Well, it wasn't that year, actually. Those guys were great. They all really wanted to win. Glenn Sather was the coach, and they all pulled together and almost got the job done.
This year's Team Canada entry, with the return of Mario Lemieux, much anticipated, as their first game in this tournament is against the United States, who is the defending World Cup champions of '96. Tomorrow, coverage of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey continues on both ESPN and ESPN2. First at 1 Eastern on ESPN, Germany faces the Swedes, Nicholas Lidstrom, Peter Forsberg and company. Then at 7 Eastern, coverage moves to ESPN2. It's Canada against the United States. The Toyota World Cup of Hockey, Tuesday on ESPN at 1 Eastern, ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. As the live action continues to unfold from Hartwall Arena in Helsinki, Finland, Jaromir Jagr's line out there working with Martin Straka and David Biborny. Jagr galloping in, curls to that forehand, a kick-out save by Kiprusoff. Jagr keeps it moving. Biborny, talented Columbus Blue Jacket center iceman, high scorer. Jagr back, Fisher fires, and that's dented away by Tuomo Ruutu. Straka on the kick. Jagr again moving back, and he's canceled out, erased along the boards by Sami Salo.
And the fans in this Helsinki building really liked when Jagr got nailed.
Niklas Hagman with a quick release on the trigger that went wide. Hagman along with Niko Kapanen, not to be confused with Sami Kapanen, the diminutive speedster. Niko Kapanen works in Dallas these days. He helped set up the opening marker of the game. Jukka Hentunen just past the 6.5-minute mark.
You're seeing their style now, the Finns. You see them drop back. They've only got one man in. Look at everybody drop back. This is the Suominen style for this tournament. He wants to make sure that they are really set up well defensively for this skilled Czech team coming out of the zone.
Czech Republic in white, Finland in blue. Point drive coming, and that's shouldered away as it was Spacek sending one high on Kiprusoff. Roshinsky into the corner, pinwheel there by Reichel for Hayduk. Hayduk stopping and starting, and Salo is right there in his hip pocket. Roshinsky, beautiful pass. Reichel was stonewalled by Kiprusoff at point-blank range.
That was a great save by Kiprusoff. Very steady, got the leg on it, made no mistake about it.
Keeping this 1-0 advantage for Team Finland. Back to Hartwall Arena on ESPN in a moment. The city of Helsinki, Finland loves Saku Koivu, who digs in on the draw now for Team Finland in the blue. A 1-0 advantage, and this the opener of the World Cup, Toyota World Cup of Hockey 2004. Cool and comfortable here in Helsinki today, Neil. And we expect it would get a little bit chillier as we move along.
Well, for the people that are on the East Coast, you can imagine that this weather in Finland and in Sweden is about 1 month ahead of the weather that we get in the New York Northeast area.
The Czech Republic playing to honor head coach Ivan Hlinka, who passed away tragically 2 weeks ago. Hlinka known to coach the '98 gold medal Czech Republic squad, but also a phenomenal player in his own right in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, he coached that gold medal squad in Nagano, and of course, who was the captain of the team but Vladimir Ruzicka, who is now the coach, taking his spot.
All of the Czech Republic, and I mean all of the citizenship, held Ivan Hlinka as an icon, a tutor and a mentor to so many of these great players. Kiprusoff with a marvelous stop there on Wasicek as he first denied Elias and then followed up against the big Carolina Hurricane. keeping this a 1-0 advantage for Finland. Jukka Hentunen on the board at 6:33 from Niko Kapanen. The Czech Republic in white. Marek Malik will scale it in, and Rosie Ruzicka wants the line change.
Dvorak really in there quick. The Czechs are much quicker to get into the zone than the Finns have been. The Finns have been a lot more careful.
Speed merchants Dvorak and Havlat on this line, working with Jiri Dupita as their pivot. Even in full strength 5-on-5. The Finns have had the only power play on the day, and it failed. Back comes Dvorak with Havlat marked there well defensively. It was Mikko Koivu doing the job. Jarkko Ruutu, once referred to as the most hated man in Finnish hockey.
And if you've watched the Vancouver Canucks a lot this season, you don't wonder why, because this guy is as tough as they come, and he is as agitating as they come.
In that 1-1 draw a week ago between these two teams, it was Ruutu picking up 18 minutes in penalties. Peltonen walking right in, and again a diving Vokoun saves the day. Wonderful stops by the Czech netminder, keeping this a 1-0 advantage for Finland. Delayed offside now, whistle, break time for us. Neil and I will have you back to Helsinki right after these words. So glad you've tuned in with us. Joe Beninati, Neil Smith with you from Helsinki, Finland. The Czech Republic and Team Finland in this, the opener of the Toyota World Cup. Coverage continuing on ESPN, ESPN2, and then a pioneer effort into ESPNbroadband.com. First time live events will be broadcast on broadband. That comes around the Labor Day holiday back home in the States. Team Finland in blue, and on the attack it's Niklas Hagman, worked over by Martin Straka. Hagman still wrestling with it, and then he bowled it wide of Tomas Vokoun, who has been very good to keep the Czechs at arm's distance in this first period. Turnover. Hagman waltzing in, and he lost it as he tried to cradle from forehand to backhand. Spot check. Gathers it in. Straka poke check by Lidman, and again the Finns will line change on the fly.
Well, Niklas Hagman had a tremendous shift, the young Florida Panther player. Boy, he looked great in that shift in the forecheck, gobbling up the puck. And here's where the Czechs have to be very careful. I'm sure they're going to talk between periods and try to get their game back, because the puck possession time has gone clearly to the Finns.
And one would imagine, Neil, that it has been forced by the Finns, who have been very aggressive, especially in the neutral zone, to take that time and space away.
Absolutely, and it's going to be how do the Czechs adapt to it between periods. It's going to tell the tale of the rest of the game.
Offside on the rush, 1-0 for Finland. Tonight at 7, ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues. Sammy Sosa and the Cubs taking on Jose Vidro and the Montreal Expos. Monday Night Baseball on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Some may see the Florida Marlins and the New York Mets. For more, log on to ESPN.com. 1-0 for Finland. Jukka Hentunen on the board.
As we see Hagman steal that puck and almost make it a 2-0 game for the Finns.
Buzzing once again with Jarkko Ruutu to the goal mouth. Teppo Numminen was there. And Vokoun with a poke check and then the glove save.
Well, Tomas Vokoun may sue for lack of support between periods as we take a look at a couple of chiclets that maybe come out on Mikko Eloranta, as he looks really in a lot of pain. He's got the mouth guard in, but still it looks like there was a high stick or something. But Tomas Vokoun has had just a tremendous first period. He has really kept the Czechs in this game. It's only 1-0, but it could easily be 3-0.
Kimmo Timonen at one point, Teppo Numminen the other. Ville Peltonen out there for the blue sweatered Finns. Josef Wasicek backing it up for the Czech Republic. Wasicek sends it ahead and on through Peter Sikora. We hear the whistle. 1-0 for Team Finland as we send it back to Dave and Barry in the studios.
Barry, how do you explain the Czech Republic looking so flat right now?
Because they don't compete. That's the problem with the Czechs. That's why they're hard to pick to win this tournament. They're a much better team than Finland, much more talented, and not even trying out there. That's the trouble with the Czechs.
Much more in the first intermission coming your way as soon as this period's done. Joe?
Toyota World Cup of Hockey, Neil, front page news in Helsinki, but it's sharing some of the headlines with Matti Nykänen, the former Finnish Olympic hero in ski jumping, which is a huge sport over here. Nykänen was arrested on attempted murder charges in the last 3 days, and that's been dominating the headlines in Helsinki.
Yeah, that is something that would, especially over here where there's not the crime that we might see in the bigger cities in North America.
1-0 for Team Finland if you're just tuning in. Live with us on ESPN. Joe Beninati, Neil Smith with you. Jukka Hentunen has struck for Team Finland in the 1-0 advantage. Tuomo Ruutu to the goal mouth and right on by. Olli Jokinen captures for the Finns. Worked over there. Finds Peltonen from the sharp angle. No worries for Vokoun.
Another great save by Vokoun. And if David Poyle and the Nashville Predators are watching this game back home, they're seeing something that they got to see all season long, and that's Tomas Vokoun making tremendous saves. This time it came off of Ville Peltonen. You'll see Jokinen made a great effort to come in and steal the puck away from Elias, and there was Peltonen's shot. That leg came out, and Vokoun is smothering every single rebound. No rebounds at all for this Finnish team, and they've had a lot of chances.
Nicholas Hagman wanted a call there. Referees Mark Jonette and Don Koharski allow the play to continue. Vokoun, Neil, is a guy who loves the workload. Second most appearances in the NHL a year ago at 73. As this one is scooped off the playing surface into the Finnish bench. You hear the whistles. The whistles equal booze in Helsinki.
And when you say booze, you mean B-O-O-S, not B-O-O-Z-E.
Yes, good point by you.
But I don't know why they boo a play that goes into the bench, but their faceoff will be back in the Czech zone because that's where it was shot from.
Saku Koivu wins the draw. Sami Salo and Jani Niinema working the back line. Niinema, who said that the defensive pressure in the neutral zone for this team, different than what he might play on Long Island with the Islanders, but very similar to the way it was in Edmonton when he was an Oiler. Lehtinen lost the handle. Havlat jets back. The Czech Republic in white and trailing by 1. Salo is there. Moves it off the boards for Teemu Selanne. Selanne, 3-on-3, no numbers advantage on the crisscross with Koivu. Niinema joining the rush, and it's going nowhere thanks to good hustle by Martin Havlat. Saku Koivu watched by Jiri Dopita. Havlat shoulder to shoulder with Jere Lehtinen, as Neil mentioned, a 3-time Selke Award winner for best defensive forward in the NHL. Berg's long drive is once again squeezed by Vokoun.
And you know, I apologize for not mentioning the shots. Vokoun has made so many saves, but we don't have it up on the clock, and we've searched this building, and they don't have a special shot clock. But I'll guarantee you one thing, the Finns have had a dramatic edge in the shots. Here you see the work they're doing, getting it back to the point. They're going hard to the net, looking for rebounds. No such luck with Tomas Vokoun.
Olli Jokinen, a former Finnish hockey hero at the junior hockey level when he helped Team Finland win the World Juniors in '98, was voted the best forward in that tournament. Tuomo Ruutu, an outstanding freshman year in the NHL in Chicago, out there to harass Vokoun. Jokinen came up high, and it was Viborny who was able to loosen himself from the hit. Jokinen sends back. Vokoun will tee it up. Finns in the middle of a line change. Just over a minute to go in the quick-moving first period. 1-0 for Team Finland. Jaromir Jagr dancing in with Viborny for the drive. Blocked away by Teppo Numminen. Viborny tried to leave it in the corner. The ricochet winds up at the point for Malik. Jagr again. Lassoed there by Timonen. Straka arm in arm, and this one leaves the playing surface for another whistle.
And Jaromir Jagr has looked good on 2 or 3 shifts in this first period. I think the Finns are going to talk about it between the first and second period, how you can't let that man have too much respect. I mean, it looks to me in this period, Joe, and you've seen a lot of Jaromir Jagr with the Washington Capitals, it looks like they're backing off from him a little bit, and if you back off from Jaromir Jagr, he will dominate the game. He's
used to having 2 guys draped all over him and trying to make great plays. Jaromir Jagr, whose work ethic is under question during an NHL season time after time, and he seemed very matter-of-fact this morning around the skate, ready to lead the charge for the Czechs. Martin Roshinsky, who has the puck here, said, you know what, we owe it to Ivan Hlinka to put in a tremendous performance in this tournament. Roshinsky called Hlinka a second father earlier today.
Well, a lot of these guys really had the utmost respect for Ivan Hlinka, and as we said at the Open, it'll be interesting to see how the Czechs handle his staff as far as this tournament goes.
The stoppage in play, a save for Kiprusoff as Reichel was on the doorstep. Robert Reichel checking out for the Finns.
Let's take a look at the Toronto Maple Leaf and his opportunity here. Robert Reichel going to the net, getting the chance there. A pretty weak shot, though, not much trouble, certainly, for Miikka Kiprusoff.
Late in the opening frame, 1-0 for the Finns. Team Finland will gladly take that lead to the dressing room as it's just popped out to center, the siren sound. Team Finland with a 1-0 advantage. 20 minutes of play complete. Miikka Kiprusoff with a rocking chair first. Jukka Hentunen had the lead. Intermission activities roll your way right after this.
Hope you're enjoying the World Cup of Hockey presented by Toyota. Barry Melrose, David Amber, Finland with a 1-0 lead at home, taking on the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic, they were so good back in the '98 Olympics, but this isn't the Olympic Games. They're not looking good at all.
Well, they're not working, and they're not respecting their opposition. Certainly if they play Canada or somebody like that, they would be ready to play, but they think they can win and beat the Finns without working, and they're going to get beat. The Finns are working hard. They're great defensive players. They got a good goaltender in Kiprusoff. Vokoun's the only reason this is only a 1-0 game.
Barry, how do you explain the lack of leadership right now on the Czech Republic? They have some big-name players not playing big games.
Well, the Czech players are led by Jaromir Jagr, and that's always been his downfall. He never becomes the leader, hasn't become the leader that we all thought he would, didn't become the leader in Pittsburgh, didn't need to be, went to Washington, didn't supply the leadership there, went to the Rangers, hasn't supplied the leadership. Jagr's the best player on their team. He's one of the best offensive players in the world. He's the guy that's got to get this team going. Unfortunately, that's his problem. He's just not a great leader.
Barry, Finland, a country of just 5 million people, but let's keep an eye on them. They won bronze both in the '94 and '98 Olympic Games, and with a guy like Miikka Kiprusoff, anything could happen for Finland. Time now to take a look at the pools and take a look at who the key players will be for the next 2 weeks during this World Cup of Hockey. Barry, let's start the North American division. Canada, Russia, Slovakia, and the defending champs, the US of A. What are the keys here?
Well, this is by far the toughest division. Canada is the favorite. Russia is sort of a team that you don't know what's going to happen. Slovakia, very talented team. I think the underdog team in the tournament. The United States, an older team, but certainly with a lot of weapons. That group right there is by far the toughest division as far as I'm concerned. Germany is the weak sister in the other division.
And the key is to finish #1 in that division, because in the other division, the European division, there could be some trouble as far as Germany finishing last. But let's begin with the U.S. What's the key for the United States?
Keys for the United States is their goaltending, goaltending, goaltending. Mike Richter has been a stabilizing force for years in the American net. Robert Esch now had a great season with Philadelphia. Looks like he's emerged as the #1 goaltender in Philadelphia. He's certainly proved he's a good young goaltender. DiPietro, good young goaltender with the Islanders. Hasn't quite become the goaltender yet they thought he was going to become, but certainly a great young goaltender, so there's lots of pressure on him. Ty Conklin came out of nowhere, goaltender for Edmonton, had a great world championship with the Americans. That's the reason he's here, and maybe instead of a goaltender like Mike Dunham. But those are 3 young goaltenders, untested goaltenders. This is a tough tournament to find out if you're a great goaltender. Canada, I think their key is Jarome Iginla. You saw him in the finals last year, the playoffs for Calgary. I think he's one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world. World stage now, is he a Mario Lemieux? Is he a Wayne Gretzky? Can he lead this Canada team with all the stars? Is he the go-to guy? Slovakia, I mentioned my underdog team. Marian Hossa, I think, is their best player. They've got a lot of weapons. They've got a lot of great offensive players. They've got an unnamed goaltender, but I think Marian Hossa is their best player, sort of like Jarome Iginla. He is the guy that's got to pick it up for the Slovakians. The Russian team, I think their test is going to be their coaching staff. They had a lot of great Russian players, like Nicky Habibulin, did not want to go to this tournament. A lot of guys backed out, like Alex Zhitnik. They don't like the coaching staff led by Viktor Tikhonov, the great coach that's been there since 1975. This coaching staff has to pull these guys together, has them to want to play, has to make them want to compete, get some chemistry in that dressing room. They're certainly talented enough to win this tournament, so the coaching staff has a ton of pressure on them to get the job done with the Russian team.
Well, that's half the picture, Barry. Here's the other half of the picture. Czech Republic, Finland, Germany, and Sweden making up the European division.
Well, the Czech Republic, we're seeing them, their whole problem with work ethic. If they don't work harder than they are tonight, they're not going to be a factor. Finland playing a lot of games at home, which is important. Germany is really a non-factor. Kolzig's going to be the goaltender. Sweden, with Peter Forsberg, could beat anybody any night.
And Jagr, really a no-show so far in this tournament. And so far,
just like Iginla, just like Peter Forsberg, he is the key to the Czechs. He's their best player. Like it or not, he's got to be a leader for that team. On the other side of it right there, you see him go to the net. He's a goal scorer. He must score big goals for this team, but he's also got to be a leader. Now for the Finns, it's goaltending. Miikka Kiprusoff emerged as a playoffs as a big-time goaltender. He got a huge raise for the Calgary Flames, deservedly so. The Finns are going to score some goals. They're good defensively, but Miikka Kiprusoff has to be great. Again, who's one of the best players in the world? Peter Forsberg, Jarome Iginla. The Swedes are a very talented team. Peter Forsberg is a leader. Is this going to be his last hockey played in North America? Is he going to finish his career in Sweden? I certainly hope not. But Peter Forsberg is the leader of Sweden. The Germans are going to see more rubber than Highway 84. Kolzig's going to have to stop all that rubber. Interesting story. He grew up in Canada, born in South Africa, got German passport somehow. He is the key to any German chance if they're going to do anything in the medals and compete. Kolzig's going to stop a lot of rubber.
And once you know, it's Jukka Hentunen, a non-NHL player who right now has Finland winning this game over the Czech Republic 1-0. It's going to be a great 2 weeks of hockey. Anything can happen here.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. And again, I think this is the best hockey ever played because of the rink size. This is going to create more hitting, more physical play, more attacking. That's why I love this style of hockey.
All right, well, coming up, Barry Bonds. He knows a thing or two about winning. He went yard not once, but twice yesterday. We'll update Barry coming up next. Keep it locked right here.
Two teams back to the playing surface for the start of period number 2 from Hartwall Arena in Helsinki, Finland. Live on ESPN, Joe Beninati, Neil Smith. Those shots on goal were hard to find. 13-5 for the Finns after 20 minutes.
And that's exactly what it looked like. In fact, I'm surprised there was even 5 for the Czechs.
As the Finns doubled up the Czechs in terms of quality scoring chances, keeping Tomas Vokoun very active between the pipes. And just a 1-0 advantage if you're joining us a little late. Jukka Hentunen on the board for the blue-jerseyed Finns. The assist primary coming from Niko Kapanen.
It's going to be interesting to see how Vladimir, say it for me,
Ruzicka
is going to adapt his team to the way the Finns played in the first period. Clearly outplaying the Czechs, going after them like we talked about the whole period, like little bulldogs, little pit bulls going after the highly skilled Czech team. So it's going to be interesting to see the adjustment that's been made for this period.
Finns control the draw. Salo's wrister snagged by Vokoun as he will hold.
Speaking of the Finns, what is Raimo Suominen done with his team between periods? How did he make an adjustment? Because you know for sure the Czechs are going to play a little bit differently. That was a period that they completely dominated. Again, the shots were 13-5 for the Finns. They can't expect to have that easy of a go this period.
Around the morning skate this morning, the Finns were talking about quick puck movement, accurate short passes as to help them alleviate some of the Czech pressure. They moved easily out of their own zone in the opening frame.
They sure did, and it was, again, talking to everybody up in the press box. Up here, you've got people from the National Hockey League, an ex-head coach like Mike Murphy, who's here representing the National Hockey League, Chris King, Steve Larmer's here representing the NHLPA, and they're all talking about the left-wing lock that the Finnish team put on the Czechs, and the Czechs, again, they're going to adjust to that. They're going to run right at that guy.
Giving them a little bit of their own medicine. It's something that the Czechs have favored in the past. Just getting started in period number 2. Zidlitsky, offensive whiz who plays on the back line for the Nashville Predators. It's Straka loading the gun and whistling one over the shoulder of Miikka Kiprusoff in goal for Team Finland. This Finnish team, an embarrassment of riches between the pipes as Kiprusoff is backed up by Kari Lehtinen, who may be the very best young netminder in all the world.
And that's exactly why Atlanta took him so high. He was an extremely high pick, second overall.
Quick centering feed. Ole Jokinen rammed that one wide. Tuomo Ruutu there. Worked over by Jiri Fischer, who took the place of Tampa Bay Lightning defender Pavel Kubina. Centering pass deflected right on through. Jokinen with a backhander that caught the skirt of the cage. Tuomo Ruutu into the corner to Teppo Numminen. Back for Ruutu once again. Billy Peltonen was wrapped up, and here comes a penalty call. It'll be against the Czech Republic and Jaromir Jagr for holding.
Mark Jonette had no choice but to call that one. When you take your hand off the stick and wrap it around, Jagr, of course, is going to argue. The players argue every call that's made, but he took his hand off the stick and wrapped it around the Finn player, and that gets you 2 minutes to the National Hockey League.
Neil during the intermissions break as we have a peek at the penalty. David and Barry were talking about Jaromir Jagr having to be a leader on this team. Is he the same, or was he ever the same as a guy like Mark Messier or Steve Yzerman in his prime? I think you're going to say, and I know you're going to say no.
No, I don't think so. I've got experience with both those individuals. I think Jagr is much more of a talent in and of himself. He's a great talent. He can carry a team with his talent. I don't think he can carry a team with leadership ability. He was the captain of Pittsburgh, though, for quite a few years until Mario Lemieux came back.
Jaromir will look you in the eye and say, I want to be number one. I want to lead this pack. But he doesn't have the same steely resolve that Yzerman or Messier does when they sink. Newmanen, midpoint. Timonen blasts the one-timer wide. Solane reloads. Newmanen again. Timonen fires. That's deflected out top. Martin Skula keeps it moving. Saku Koivu pounces on it for Finland. Early stages of the second period, 1-0 for Team Finland in blue against the Czech Republic in white. This is the opener of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey in 2004. The next couple of weeks for hockey fans will be just tremendous. The best going up against the best throughout the world. In 98 and in 2002, it was Olympic Games, Neil. In 96 and 04, we've got the World Cup. Hentunen back behind the goal.
96, as we said before, was a great tournament. This looks to be every bit as good.
Loose in front, Niko Kapanen swirling out of the corner. Leaves it for Teppo Newmanen, back behind to Peltonen again. Smoked there by Marek Malik, who can really pound you along the backboards. Olli Jokinen finagles out of that corner. Back for Timonen again, walking the line. Teppo Newmanen thought about the slapper, then lost it. Radek Dvorak is away to the races. Dvorak leaning in. And he was badgered by Timonen the full length of the rink.
And Dvorak wanted a penalty there, and he didn't get one, but he was tired. He was near the end of his shift as we see him go right to the bench.
Finns with the second power play on the day. 25 seconds left in the minor to Jaromir Jagr. Solane carving out with a wrister that's towed away by Tomas Vokoun. Solane, Niko Kapanen there to overload, and Marek Zidlitsky very neatly plays it clear. Finn power play in the final ticks. Jani Niinema, another outstanding outlet passer in back.
A real good and real necessary penalty kill for the Czech squad. They had to kill that penalty off, and they did a good job.
They're 2 for 2 in that department, Neil. Jukka Hentunen's goal at even strength at 6:33 of the first, the only tally on the board. Marek Zidlitsky, former New York Ranger property, waits for this breakout to begin. Taking his sweet time. Fisher taps it. Elias deals it for Sikora. Back to the goal mouth. The two former Devils working in there. Elias still with the New Jersey squad. Sikora moved along out west to Anaheim. Eloranta fired it wide. And something happened to Peter Sikora's hair as we look at a 2-on-1. Here comes the long-haired Sikora with a drive. And it was Kiprusoff with a save. Peter Sikora hasn't cut that hair in 2 years, and it's turned a little bit more blonde than I remember.
Well, he's been out in the sun. It is the summer.
Miikka Koivu right on in, muscling his way to the front. And Vokoun met him with a pad save. Oh, Sikora was pretty candid. He said, you know what? It's growing a little thin. This is my last chance to wear it long. I'm going for it. The Czechs play back. Wasicek doing the honors. Approaching the 5-minute mark of the second period. 1-0 for Team Finland. In Helsinki with you today. Joe Beninati and Neil Smith. The opener of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey. Martin Havlat zooming away from Hentunen. Content to play dump and chase. Kiprusoff piloting the breakout along with Teppo Newmanen, and Hentunen will golf it back onto the Czech side.
Again, the Czechs have got to get in there, got to take control of the puck. Again, in this early going, mostly because of the power play for the Finns. But it has been, again, the Finns have had the puck more often than the Czechs, and the Czechs depend on puck possession.
Tuomo Ruutu will scale in. This is past history, I understand, but back in '96 in the World Cup opener, it was the Finns pounding the Czechs 7-3. It was not a very good effort by the Czech Republic in that tournament. They lost all 3 games by a combined 17-4. Folks, tomorrow, coverage of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey continues both on ESPN and ESPN2. First at 1 Eastern, ESPN Germany facing the Swedes. Then at 7, coverage moves over to ESPN2. Brodeur, Sakic, and Iginla facing Brett Hull, Mike Modano of the United States. The Toyota World Cup of Hockey, Tuesday on ESPN at 1 Eastern, and then at ESPN2 at 7.
And what a tremendous game that's going to be, Canada and the U.S. Boy, I wish we could see that over here. And you know what? The Germans aren't to be taken too lightly. They've done fairly well in the pre-tournament games. and they can upset teams too. You know, in a short tournament, the team that works the hardest, along with a good goalie, has a good chance to upset people.
Between periods, David Amber and Barry Melrose talked about Ole Kolzig needing to be heroic in that effort. Remember, the Germans back in 2002 in Salt Lake City really pushed Canada in a prelim game. Fisher back to get it. With Lehtinen charging after him, Zidlitsky will loop to center. Knocked down by Tony Lidman, and he'll play back. Finns scratching Ossi Vananen and Philadelphia Flyer youngster Joni Pitkinen on the back line for today's contest. Jaromir Jagr, full and even strength, worked over there by Berg. Jagr looking to create. Steps from behind the goal. Finds the passing lane for Skula, and that was just a bit too far. Counter punching, it's Teemu Selänne. 2-on-2, and Selänne in need of a breather. He'll go for the line change.
Boy, as somebody who's been coming over to Europe for the last decade, it's really odd to see these teams dump the puck in. This is something that the Finns never used to do in the tournaments. It's something, obviously, that has come about of their time playing in the National Hockey League.
Two teams, primarily their makeup NHL All-Stars. They're used to playing a little dump and chase on the smaller ice surfaces, even though we're in Helsinki today, playing under NHL rules. Offsides. Finland has the advantage by 1. More in the second after this.
ESPN's presentation of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey is brought to you by the Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. And The Lady Killers, the laugh out loud comedy coming to DVD September 7th.
We welcome you back to Helsinki, Finland for ESPN's continuing coverage of the 2004 Toyota World Cup of Hockey. From Hartwall Arena, along with Neil Smith, I'm Joe Beninati. Glad to have you along for the ride in the World Cup opener. Team Finland has a 1-0 advantage. They had it after 20 minutes. They still have it as we approach the midway mark in period 2. Jukka Hentunen with the only tally.
Finns definitely having the decided edge in this game so far. The shots 18-6, 5-1 in this period.
Roshinski to the goal mouth and right on by. Fisher at 1 point for the Czechs, who are wearing their whites. Finland on home ice here in Helsinki wearing the blue. Niko Kapanen darting out of his own end along with Niklas Hagman. Long 70-footer rifled high on Tomas Vokoun. Olli Jokinen, the all-star pivot for the Florida Panthers. Recently cracked that 30-goal plateau, has blossomed into a wonderful skater.
What a great story he is. A guy that a lot of people thought was not going to be what he was drafted as, what he was billed as, but has really developed since getting to the Panthers.
It was the LA Kings who selected Jokinen very high in the draft. He's turned out to be the lead dog in Florida. Zidlitsky bothered by Tuomo Ruutu, who fell. Sami Salo captures for the Finns. Turned it over. Sikora driving back in. Sikora has a lightning quick release. He chose not to take it there as Fisher glides off to complete a Czech line change. Selänne scooping it out. It'll be collected. Jiri Slager, who's been dealt 5 different times, Neil. Yourself a former NHL GM. What does that mean when a guy's been shuffled 5 different times?
Well, he's been around, but I'll tell you one thing. Jiri Slager did a good job last year for the Boston Bruins after Mike O'Connell got him there from the Vancouver Canucks. You know, sometimes a player just doesn't fit in one situation, but fits real well in another, and I think that Slager really fit in with the Bruins.
Torpedo with a beautiful move to the crease, and then he was hooked on his way to the goal mouth. A power play coming now for the Czech Republic.
It's going to be Olli Jokinen that goes into the box for the hook. This will be the first power play for the Czechs, and it's something that they've waited for the whole game. It's a high sticking penalty on Olli Jokinen. We'll see it right here as he comes around with the stick. Gets up there and hits the plastic on DePita, and DePita throws the head back a little bit late, but still was able to draw the penalty. So the guy that we were just talking about that's had a marvelous rebirth in Florida is the first one to take a penalty.
Jokinen cools his heels, and Miikka Kiprusoff, the netminder for Team Finland, told me earlier in the day, you have to be ready for those lateral plays with the Czech power play. They pass the puck expertly through the box defense. We'll see if that unfolds in this man advantage trip. The Czech Republic in white, with Zidlitsky peppering it on for Jaromir Jagr. Hooked there by Hentunen. Timo Timonen was there as well for the Finns. Hagman didn't get it out. Zidlitsky on the takeaway. 1-0 for Team Finland. A first period goal, the only one on the day. Straka keeps it in the corner for Jagr again. Numminen, Timonen there collaborating defensively. Jukka Hentunen for the Finns will play it off the glass and all the way back.
Extremely aggressive, and it'll be a face-off in the Finnish zone because it went into the bench area, so it'll be a face-off deep in the Finn zone. But extremely aggressive box for the Finns, and you saw them jumping Jagr as soon as he got the puck.
Neil, that has changed over time. Aggressive penalty killing is the norm these days in the NHL, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is. You guys are so skilled once they set up, they can put that puck in the net, so they're jumping them much quicker than ever.
At a point position, Elias leaves it on the wall for Reichel. Former Czech Republic hero during Olympics and past World Championships. A guy who's played with Martin Rashinsky right here since the two of them were 12 years old. Rashinsky's wrister was blocked and cleared away. Lidman doing the honors.
Again, this is going to be the bread and butter for the Czech team because this is where they can really use their skills. This is their #2 power play out here.
Elias zooming in, layers it back to point position. Reichel on the one-timer that went wide. Lidman keeps it out of harm's way. Hayduk bumps it into the corner. Milan Hayduk, all-star winger for the Colorado Avalanche, trying to play a little two-man game there. The pass to the front was blocked and sent all the way by Mikko Eloranta. A little less than 9 minutes to go in period 2. 1-0 for Team Finland. And again, this puck striking a player on the bench for the Czechs for the whistle.
Good kill, however, with 16 seconds to go in the power play for the Czechs. A little bit of frustration showing from the Czech team. They really couldn't get anything going in the Finnish zone as we take a look at Martin Havlat.
A guy like Martin Havlat, a 31 goal getter last year in Ottawa, his best offensive performance. This has got to bother him with no running room. He's such a great skater.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's not going to get a lot of running room, and he's not going to get the ice time perhaps in the situations that he gets with the Ottawa Senators.
Power play for the Czechs expires. Ole Jokinen is back on the ice. There's a lead for Havlat, who was a little over-anxious at the line. Offside on the play. It's still 1-0 for Team Finland. We welcome you back inside Hartwall Arena in Helsinki, Finland. Welcome you back to live coverage of the Toyota World Cup of 2004. In white, the Czech Republic. In blue, Team Finland. The Finns have a 1-0 advantage. Saku Koivu has a hold on to Jaromir Jagr. Jagr playing with Vyborny and Straka for the first couple of periods in this one under Rosie Ruzicka's direction. Ruzicka, who took the place of Ivan Halinka, who died tragically in an automobile accident just a couple weeks ago. Ruzicka was a 5-time scoring champ in the Czech Elite League. Folks, tomorrow we'll have continuing coverage of this World Cup. A couple of big games on the docket. Talk to us, Neil, about Team USA and its chances to defend.
Well, I think they have a great team. They're missing a couple of real important defensemen with Matthew Schneider not playing and with Darian Hatcher not in the lineup, so that could hurt them, but they certainly have a formidable lineup. The other thing that the Team USA doesn't have this year is the great goaltending that Mike Richter brought to them in '96 when he was named MVP of the entire tournament.
Wrist shot coming there from Elias, snatched out of the air by Kiprusoff. Miikka Kiprusoff is a guy on game day who tells us that he stretches approximately 3 hours to keep himself limber. If I did that, I'd be in a stretcher.
Barry Melrose didn't stretch 3 hours in his career, so you know how long that is. But
I'm telling you, I'd need traction.
I'd be Gumby if I was stretching 3 hours a day. But he is one heck of a goaltender, so if that's what you need to do, boys, everybody gets stretching 3 hours a day.
Trying to ward off the advances of a sniper like Patrick Elias. Wasicek out there to take the draw for the Czechs. Sami Salo has it under control, and Niko Kapanen, who picked up a first period assist, turned it over now. Sikora with a wrister and flagged down again by Miikka Kiprusoff.
Now that one was going wide of the net, but Sikora did have a good opportunity as we look at those flowing locks coming out of the back of the helmet there. Looks a little bit reminiscent of Robbie Brown. Here's his opportunity, the snapshot. It was actually going wide of the net. Kiprusoff, no problem at all. It was like a practice shot for that guy.
Peter Sikora loves the sport of tennis. When he was with the New Jersey Devils during the summertime, late summer, he was a regular at the U.S. Open at Flushing Meadows. That tournament getting underway. While Sikora is busy here in Helsinki. 1-0 for Team Finland in blue. Marek Zidlitsky, the Nashville Predators, will turn the cage. Plays on for Yuri Dopita, who for a long time, Neil, was thought to be the best player outside of the NHL. And then Dopita came to the NHL ranks and didn't take over, didn't take it by storm.
Well, I didn't get to see Dopita play much in Edmonton, living in New York, but certainly that people were disappointed in how good he would have been. They thought he was going to be a lot better when Kevin Lowe acquired him. There you take a look at Olli Jokinen. Again, we can't say enough about his renaissance. He was drafted by the LA Kings, traded in the Palffy trade over to the New York Islanders, and then the Islanders shipped him on to Florida, where he's been very comfortable and found a home.
What amazes me about Jokinen is his durability, Neil. He's missed just 7 games in the last 5 seasons total. Big guy who carries the puck a lot, gets hit a lot, and is well enough to endure those rigors of the NHL.
It proves once again you shouldn't give up on the young guys very early, because there was a guy that 2 teams let go, and now he's an all-star in the National Hockey League with the Florida Panthers.
A penalty call coming here. Spotted by referee Mark Joannette. The preliminary indication is tripping. The Czechs go shorthanded, and Team Finland has its 3rd power play on the day.
It's on Martin Rosinski, and it's for tripping. You're right, Joe. It was in the neutral zone. He's not too happy about this call, but he will put his team down for 2 minutes, and we'll see if the Finns can get their power play going. On their first 2 opportunities, they weren't able to muster much.
Brzezinski said earlier today the ice surface here is a little bit chippy. It prevents the guys from being all that fancy. We'll see how it influences the Finland power play. 5-on-4 for the guys in blue. 1-0 they have the lead. An even strength goal from Jukka Hentunen. Niko Kapanen set it up. Saku Koivu looking for Solane, and Vokoun got in the way. Saku Koivu again nimble in the crease. Bothered there by Straka. Slager didn't get it out. Solane wheels, trying to get a pick from Koivu. Timonen cheating down from a point position, but not there in time. Straka got it out.
There's where that wide ice surface helped the Czech team, that extra few feet. This is exactly 93 feet wide, not like a National Hockey League 85 feet, but not like a normal European rink either at 100.
Jokinen dished it into the corner for Niko Kapanen. Sami Salo will cruise in from his point spot. Jokinen leaving it to Niko Kapanen. Point position for Niinema. Niko Kapanen will wait. Long wrister. Vokoun got out there. It's loose in the paint and swept away from harm. Jani Niinema gathers in for Salo. Salo keeps it on the perimeter. Power play for Finland. Another 48 seconds. Ville Peltonen, former NHLer in his own right, now a star in the Finnish Elite League. Ville Peltonen wheeling away from Viborny. Niinema long wrister. That didn't get through, and Dvorak should have an easy clear. He makes an alleyway dash out there along with Viborny on the crisscross. Viborny trying to snake his way to the goal mouth, and Salo had the play well read.
The Finns are going to have to be careful with guys like Dvorak on the ice. He's got great speed. Him and Viborny, imagine if the puck comes loose. Well, you've got a couple of jackrabbits.
Always a threat shorthanded. Solane. Jokinen. Deep slot. Timonen's one-timer was scuttled on the way. Back come the Czechs 2-on-2. They'll be back to even strength in 3 seconds. This is offside against Elias and the Czechs.
Well, Elias just missed that in his feet, which is what threw it off. Marek Malik made a good save for the Finn team here. You're going to see right here as he gets the puck right there and moves it away. Right there. Got this stick on the puck and was able to get it out from behind goaltender Vokoun.
It was Jaroslav Spacek in there too, helping out, formerly the best defender in the Swedish Elite League. As we approach 4 minutes to go in the second period, 1-0 for Team Finland. Vokoun paddles it around, and that's a job well done. It starts Elias on the break, and then he had it swiped by Aki Berg. Teemu Solane, who was a kindergarten teacher about 20 minutes from here in Helsinki in his early days as a pro player. Vokoun will gobble that up. More about Teemu in a moment. 1-0 for the Finns. Back to Helsinki right after this. The new head coach for the Czech Republic national team is Vladimír Růžička, and quite a player in his own right, both in Europe and in the National Hockey League.
Well, he won the gold medal as captain of the Czech Republic when they won the gold medal in Nagano, and he's used to winning. He also coached the champs in Prague Slavia. The Prague Slavia team, he coached them to the championship in 2003, and then they went back to the finals last year.
Růžička's best NHL offensive season in Boston. Also saw him in the sweaters of the Edmonton Oilers and the Ottawa Senators, too, before his time in North America was finished. Martin Skula back to play. Around the turnstile there, hard-hitting. Mikko Koivu and Miikka Eloranta on ice for the Finns. Raimo Suominen, their head coach, rapidly changing lines and trying to get the matchups that he wants. Jukka Hentunen, who has the only goal in this affair. Hagman makes a slippery move at center, and Skula managed to stay with him. Jiri Slegr, rugged customer, on for Skula, who lobs it back out. Skula played, well, Neil, almost a quarter of the season with the Mighty Ducks and picked up just 2 minutes in penalties. If Slegr is rugged, Skula tends to work it with finesse.
He certainly does when you only take 2 minutes in penalties. But he is a good, solid defenseman.
Offsides on the play against the Finns. It's 1-0 for Team Finland as we send you back to the ESPN studios.
All right, David Amber, Barry Melrose. Barry, Finland seems to be sitting on this lead a little bit.
They've had 3 power plays. It's still 1-0. The Czech players haven't responded very well, but that usually spells disaster for the underdogs like the Finns. They got to make this 2 or 3-0. They're letting the Czechs back in the game.
All right, back to Joe in Helsinki. More World Cup action.
The Toyota World Cup of Hockey 2004 continues live on ESPN, and despite 9 power play shots, Team Finland has not been able to lengthen its 1-0 lead over the Czech Republic, and this the first game of the round-robin play. The Czechs and Finns, the Swedes and Germans. Team Sweden, Neil, with all that pressure, you look at their lineup and they are stacked top to bottom.
And it looks like Michael Tellqvist is going to get the call in goal for the Swedes over Tommy Salo.
Kimmo Timonen well up on the play. Salo, of course, wore the goat horns in Salt Lake City in 2002, and the Swedish entry was eliminated by Belarus in surprise fashion. Jokinen, bottled up by Malik. It squirts loose, and the Czech Republic will play away, darting back at Sviborny. On the crisscross, working in Straka. Loosens himself up there for a wrister. Blocker pad save by Kiprusoff. All sorts of traffic in front, and a delayed penalty coming against the Czechs.
This is going to be a penalty on the Czechs for goaltender interference. I think it's going to come to Viborny.
Body starting to fly as we hear the whistle and the penalty call. 1-0 for Team Finland. Monday Night Countdown provides comprehensive analysis, interviews, highlights, up-to-the-minute NFL news and live reports. Get all the news from the best in the business leading up to Monday Night Football on ABC. Monday Night Football preseason rolls on. Steve McNair and the Tennessee Titans taking on Bill Parcells' Dallas Cowboys. Plus, the Cowboys' Eddie George tries to give Dallas a victory against his former team. Monday Night Football, Monday at 8 Eastern on ABC Sports Championship Television.
Well, David Viborny sits in the penalty box for taking out Miikka Kiprusoff. Not quite as bad as we saw Niinema do to Curtis Joseph in the playoffs, but still knocked him right over the tea kettle.
In Helsinki, Finland, a city of almost 500,000, this building holds nearly 14,000. Timonen with a wrister. They have been loud and full throat, roaring for the guys in the blue sweaters. Team Finland with a 1-0 advantage.
And the Finns keep trying to get that puck on net. They're doing a good job of that, but they want the rebounds. But there's none coming from Vokoun. You're going to see this last chance they just had on the power play, the wrister going towards the net as we look at big Jiri Fischer of the Detroit Red Wings. There's a shot by Timonen. And look at Vokoun, just covers it up again. He's done that umpteen times tonight.
That's Neil Smith. I'm Joe Beninati. We're inside Hartwall Arena in Helsinki, Finland. The opening game of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey 2004. So glad you have tuned in. ESPN will be very busy over the next couple of weeks. We'll have World Cup of Hockey action on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Broadband, and it originates from 6 different countries. A lot on our plates. Miikka Kiprusoff, who was just awarded through arbitration a very healthy pay raise, Neil Smith. Brilliant performance.
Went from 800,000 up to 2.95, I believe.
And you talk about that process working negatively against the league with respect to the escalating salaries, some of the issues with respect to our looming CBA problems.
Well, one of the issues we were talking about yesterday was how salaries can really never go down. They can only go up. And if once you get awarded a good salary like that, I mean, every year it's there for you until the team outright releases you, which, of course, teams don't want to release their players. And so, therefore, they're in some cases, they're stuck by having to pick up those big salaries.
Fourth power play for Team Finland has another 28 seconds left in it. Niko Kapanen. Skip pass for Sami Salo. Wrister on the way, knocked aside by Malik, and he'll drive it all the way down the pond. As we close out period number 2, the final ticks expire, the horn sounds. After 40 minutes of play, Team Finland has the 1-0 advantage. Intermissions activities, back to Bristol. Here's David and Barry.
Welcome back to the Toyota World Cup of Hockey. Barry, Melrose, David Amber, great to have you along. All these NHL stars for the Czech Republic and Finland, and it's Jukka Hentunen who has the only goal. He's in the Finnish Elite League. What have you seen so far in 2 periods, Barry?
But if you're a Czech fan, you got to look at your glass being half full, and that means that you haven't had Yager's name, Eliash's name, Hayduk's name, Sikora's name hardly all night long, and yet they're only down 1-0 after killing 4 power plays. So they got to win 1 period. They got to show up for 1 period. That's not a bad situation to be in if you're the Czech team.
Quickly, what adjustments do they need to make?
Effort. They got to try a little bit. The Czechs got to win some physical battles. They got to knock some Finn players. They got to go to the front of the Finnish net and make life hard for Kiprusoff. They haven't done that for 2 periods.
Czech Republic 0-3 at the last World Cup. They scored a grand total of just 4 goals. They got to show up in this 3rd period in Helsinki. Every year we begin the NHL season with 30 teams fighting for the most treasured piece of hardware, the Stanley Cup. But it's been 8 years since we've had the top 8 hockey countries fighting for world supremacy on the ice. Let's take a look now at the evolution of the World Cup of Hockey. The World Cup of Hockey can be traced back 28 years to its predecessor, the Canada Cup. The first tournament was played in 1976 with Canada taking the first title, defeating Czechoslovakia on an overtime goal by Daryl Sittler. The next Canada Cup was played 5 years later, but despite a 5-0-1 mark heading into the final, the defending champion Canadians were blitzed by the Soviet Union 8-1 in the final. In 1984, Team Canada staggered through the round robin before gaining the final in a thrilling overtime game settled by Mike Bossy. Canada went on to win the Cup with a 2-game sweep over Sweden. 1987 saw the most thrilling final in the history of the tournament. The Soviets and Canada swapped 6-5 overtime decisions and appeared headed for overtime in the rubber match before the most famous goal in Canada Cup history.
Here's Lemieux poking at the center. Lemieux ahead to Gretzky. Has Murphy with him on a 2-on-1 to Lemieux. And on goal. He shot! He scores!
1991 saw Team USA make its first final. Canada took the opening game, but lost Wayne Gretzky on a brutal cross-check from Gary Suter. With a great one on the sidelines, Canada became a 4-time champ when Steve Larmer netted the shorthanded winner in the 3rd period. The World Cup replaced the Canada Cup in 1996, and the tournament grew from 6 to 8 teams. In the best-of-3 final, Steve Yzerman's overtime goal gave Canada a leg up on the U.S. Mike Richter's heroics evened the series, and in Game 3, Canada went ahead late. But Brett Hull tied it, and then...
Here's Heiser again. Stop. Team USA.
It ended 5-2, and now 8 years later, Team USA finally has a chance to defend its title. And Barry, the road they're going to have to take, Team USA is through Canada, Russia, and Slovakia.
Much tougher road. Canada and United States going to have a great game tomorrow night. Canada's goaltending is better than the United States. Young goaltenders got to prove they belong in this tough competition.
And Czech Republic, Finland, Germany, and Sweden rounding out the other 8 teams. They're in the European pool. 1-0 after 40 minutes in Helsinki. Jukka Hentunen, the only goal scorer. More intermission action coming your way next. The World Cup of Hockey, here's what you've seen so far. 40 minutes in Helsinki. Jani Niinimaa and the Finnish team trying to get things going early. Jari letting in the wrister, but Tomas Vokoun's been solid all game long.
Best player on the ice tonight, Vokoun.
The only blemish right there, Jukka Hentunen in front for the goal. He's out of the Finnish elite league, so not even an NHLer. Second period, Vokoun again tested, but Olli Jokinen can't light the lamp. 1-0 Finland on top through 2. Things are going to heat up tomorrow. Germany and Sweden at 1 o'clock Eastern right here on ESPN. And then on ESPN2, a game we are waiting for, the United States and Canada. The U.S. beginning defense of its team. Barry, what are we looking for?
Well, the United States are a much older team in Canada, except in one position. That's in goaltending. Who is going to play? I don't even think the Americans know. Robert Etch had a great playoffs and a great regular season for Philadelphia. DiPietro, young goaltender for the Islanders, is starting to emerge as the goaltender of the Islanders' hope. And you've got Ty Conklin. All three are good young goaltenders. DiPietro was the first pick overall, the only first goalie to be so. They're certainly hoping that he emerges. One guy they're going to miss is Darian Hatcher. They didn't pick him for the Olympic team, big Darian Hatcher. They didn't think he was a good enough skater to play on the big ice surface, but he would have been a monster on defense for the Americans against those big, tough, great skating Canadian forwards. I really think they're going to miss Hatcher on defense. I think they're going to miss Schneider on defense, and also Leopold, the Calgary defenseman, will not be on the defense for the United States. So I think they're going to miss those three big, good skating defensemen. Canada on the other side have so many weapons, so many great players, so many leaders. Mary Lemieux's playing, which we love to see. But Iginla, I think it's his time to become the leader of this team. I think the torch will be passed this time to Iginla from Mary Lemieux and guys like LeCavalier, guys like San Luis, guys like Richards. So I think it's a time for the young Canadian forwards to take over.
What a matchup. Finland with a 1-0 lead. Joe and Neil, your third period action from Helsinki coming up next on the Toyota World Cup of Hockey.
The nation of Finland with a little more than 5 million people. The Czech Republic, 10 million. And I found something interesting, Neil, with respect to how the Czechs have moved their way through the NHL ranks. 30 years ago, there was one Czech player in the NHL. Last year, there were 119. The game is globalized big time.
Well, and there's also the political thing has changed, too. You know, the Iron Curtain is down, and of course Czech Republic, which was Czechoslovakia, is now a free country, and the players can come over here. They weren't always able to do that. I remember scouting in Czechoslovakia during the 80s and trying to get players out of there, and it was very difficult.
Joe Beninati, and there's Neil Smith in the booth as we watch Saku Koivu tuck one home in tight.
Well, there's the captain of the Montreal Canadiens and the captain of Team Finland for the World Cup of Hockey, outworking everybody in white jerseys, coming around and stuffing it in the Nashville Predators, Tomas Vokoun. A good takeout by Lettinen. That's what got him the Selke trophy a number of times. Malik can't come up with it, but Saku Koivu does and stuffs it through the legs of Vokoun. He looked like he would not let anything in, but Koivu has solved him, so the Finns go up 2-0.
And it happens early. 30 seconds in, doesn't have to be pretty. Everybody knows that Saku Koivu is a hard worker. Past Masterton Trophy winner for his dedication to the game. David and Barry, during our between periods activities, were talking about Vokoun being the best player on the ice. They were seeking a little bit more effort from the Czechs. Well, a little bit more effort now, and that comeback will be required as Finland in the blue has a 2-0 advantage. Saku Koivu in the first minute of the third period.
Well, Vokoun had faced 24 shots in the first two periods as opposed to Miikka Kiprusoff, who only faced 9. A decided advantage for the Finns.
Unofficially, 7 scoring chances for the Czechs. And a very soft night of work for Miikka Kiprusoff. 2-0 for the Finns. Jaromir Jagr full gallop on the throttle and working wide against Salo. Salo rides him into the corner. Niko Kapanen will take it back. Kapanen comes wing to wing for 30-year-old Jukka Hentunen, who was on the board first. Spun around there, defensive play made by Martin Skula, who idolized Slava Fetisov when he was growing up. The Russian Federation, the Russian World Cup entry without Fetisov as its general manager. Koivu from Lettinen, 30 seconds in, 2-0 for Team Finland.
Well, the Czechs are really going to have to get going now. They haven't been able to get anything going so far in this game as we take a look at Captain Koivu. He was really a remarkable athlete, Joe. I mean, this guy is such a story. Not only coming back from cancer and everything that we know about that, but the fact that this guy is such a good player at his size in the National Hockey League and able to be the captain as a native Finn of the storied Montreal Canadiens is really an amazement.
And a lot of players on this Finnish team, Neil, gravitate towards him. You can see him leading them throughout the morning practice paces. Closing in, Jarkko Ruuter with a wrister. That was denied by Dvorak. Kimmo Timonen jumps up offensively for the Finns, who have a 2-0 advantage, little more than 2 minutes into period number 3. Team Finland trying to win its opener. Saku Koivu's younger brother, Mikko, is on this squad as well.
And that's quite a thing to have these brothers on the same team. 2 sets of brothers on Team Finland. Of course, the Koivu brothers, who are about 8 years apart in age, and then the Ruutu brothers, who are also 8 years apart in age. Both of the younger guys had idolized the older brother. Now they've got the chance to play with him.
Mikko Koivu, the 20-year-old former Minnesota Wild first-round draft pick. Jere Lehtinen, who assisted on the most recent strike from Saku Koivu, is out there again. Lehtinen and Koivu were actually on a line with the head coach, Raimo Suominen, back in '95. Suominen's only 10 years removed from his playing days. Aki Berg in the corner.
He mentioned that in the Finnish Ice Hockey Federation, he is a young coach that they're trying to develop. And he could have a long future in front of him with the national team if he is successful.
Jani Niinema told me he's very passionate, and then he told us that he sort of backed off that. He's not as much of a cheerleader as he is a tactician now, teaching the guys where he wants them on the ice.
He said that he did very little yelling now. He used to do a lot of that early in his time, I guess, at IFK and here in Jokerit, but doesn't do as much of that.
We're live on ESPN in Helsinki, Finland, the opener of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey. Joe Beninati, Neil Smith from inside Hartwall Arena, where it's 2-0 for Finland in the blue. Jaromir Jagr, little shake and bake on Teppo Numminen. Jagr to the goal mouth, swatted away by Kiprusoff. Deep slot, Zedlitsky rifles one wide. The rebound belongs to Tuomo Ruutu, and he'll clear. Ruutu would have earned a lot of Rookie of the Year votes in the second half of the past NHL season. The Rookie of the Year, the Boston netminder, Andrew Raycroft.
Yeah, tough to beat him this year in the National Hockey League as a rookie, because Andrew Raycroft was fantastic for the Boston Bruins.
The Finns with 1 in the first and 1 in the third. And now Martin Skula and the Czechs have to dig deep. This Czech Republic squad next in action against Sweden on Wednesday in Stockholm.
And of course the Finns playing the next game for the Finns will be in Cologne, Germany, when they take on the German team and your friend Olli Kolzig.
Right off the draw, Neil, it's Hagman making a break for it. Then he was hauled down by Skula. Power play number 5 for Team Finland to come.
Well, Joe, this looked like he was given a little bit of help on this penalty. Skula definitely took the penalty, made the penalty happen, but boy, oh boy, that might have been a bit of a soft one with a 2-0 Finn lead in this game, called by Dan Koharski there. But the angle that he was on, I'm sure it looked like Skula hauled him down, but it looked like a bit of a soft call to me.
Teemu Selanne going right back to the power play opportunity. Joe Annette and Koharski are the referees. Dvorsky and Lazarowicz are the linesmen. NHL rules in this Toyota World Cup, which means if we were to go to overtime in the round-robin play, it would be 4-on-4 and 5 minutes worth, like the NHL regular season. Saku Koivu propelling back with Jere Lehtinen. Lehtinen just pitched it into the corner. Marek Malik on guard there along with Saku Koivu. Golf back around. Kimmo Timonen wants to pounce on it. Leaves for Lehtinen. Selanne parked back behind the cage. Point position to Teppo Numminen. Back for Teemu. Walking in. Loads and drives. And that's stabbed by the netminder Tomas Vokoun. 2-0 for the Finns. Tomorrow our coverage of the Toyota World Cup continues on ESPN and ESPN2. 1 Eastern on ESPN. Germany against Sweden. And then at 7 Eastern on ESPN2, Brodeur, Sakic, Ginland, Canada against Hull, Modano, and the U.S. The Toyota World Cup of Hockey, Tuesday on ESPN 1 Eastern and ESPN2 at 7 Eastern time.
There's Tomas Vokoun's save on cult hero Teemu Selanne. Wasn't much of an opportunity, really, but Teemu decided to let it go.
Salo with a wrister from deep, deflected down, and they score! 3-0 Finland.
Well, finally, somebody's power play gets going, and it's the Finns as Martin Skula sits in the penalty box. The puck comes around to the point to Salo. The Vancouver Canuck lets it go on a wrist shot from the point. Not sure how many sticks touched this on the way through, but he threads it into the slot. It goes right through. It might have been touched by Jokinen, but we know one thing for sure, that Sami Salo got that puck through. And it's a 3-0 lead for Team Finland.
Niko Kapanen was about 15 feet in front of the crease, and goalies will tell you those high deflections, those far-ranging deflections can be awfully difficult. As Neil mentions, the power play expands the lead for Team Finland. They are all smiles here in Helsinki.
Well, Team Finland now with what looks like an insurmountable lead, a 3-0 lead. This is a deserving lead for this team, though, Joe. They could have had this lead easily in the first period had it not been for the histrionics of Vokoun.
Tomas Vokoun, who has set so many different records in goal for the Nashville Predators over the last couple of seasons. Finally, being pierced by Finland for a pair of markers before the period was 5 minutes old in period 3. And Finland breathing more comfortably now at 3-0. Even in full strength 5-on-5. Niklas Hagman will march out of there for the Finns. Niklas's dad, Matty Hagman, a former NHLer in his own right, the first time ever father-son Finns in the NHL. Jiri Fischer awaits. Fischer puts the long lead on the blade of Peter Sakura, but across two lines, it's an offside pass.
Clearly offside. That one didn't take a lot to see that that was an offside pass. As we look at our goal scorer, Sami Salo, first goal, of course, of the tournament in Game 1.
So in-house, they'll rule that it deflected off of a defender. That puck definitely changed directions and dropped on Vokoun, as Salo, for the moment, gets credited with the power play goal. Slager for the Czechs, who are in white. Martin Skula on the advance, spun Reichel around. Eloranta for the Finns. For Miikka Koivu, and he'll clear. Jarkko Ruutu balancing it up for Team Finland. Miikka Koivu put it right to the chest of Vokoun, and he will cover. Finland in front by 3. We'll have you back to Helsinki on ESPN in a moment.
ESPN's presentation of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey is brought to you by the Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. And Samuel Adams. When you're ready for a distinctive brew, Samuel Adams, always a good decision.
Continues, it's the opener of the 2004 Toyota World Cup of Hockey. Team Finland has a 3 spot on the board and a healthy 3-0 lead. They've changed the goal now in-house here at Hartwall Arena. They did rule that it was Niko Kapanen with that high deflection down and past Vokoun. So it should read Niko Kapanen from Sami Salo and Ville Peltonen. And a 3-0 advantage thanks to that power play marker. The Czech Republic, which has not generated much offense, not nearly enough for a team dressed in white with all of these all-stars and all of that offensive skill.
And certainly not enough offense to beat somebody like Miikka Kiprusoff, who's had a very easy night, as you put it, a rocking chair night so far. The Czechs have certainly not mustered the effort that is needed to beat this Finnish team.
Barry Melrose between periods asking for the likes of Milan Hajduk and Patrick Elias and Jaromir Jagr to get it in gear and be more of a threat. Hajduk is out there right now along with Josef Wasacek, as the Finns will send in Peltonen doing the honors. Ville Peltonen on ice with Tuomo Ruutu now and Olli Jokinen as we near the midway mark of the third period. Wasacek leading the charge, plays it cross corner. Dopita fenced in by Peltonen. Jani Niinema will play back for the Finns. Team Finland will share the headlines in the newspapers tomorrow in Helsinki if it continues this way with a guy named Kimi Räikkönen in Formula 1 racing. Loose in front there as it's pawed towards the front. It is Kiprusoff with a stop. They love their race car drivers too in Finland.
They sure do, and Teemu Selanne loves them too. He has been there's our goal scorer from that last goal. It was changed. He's the man that deflected that Sami Salo shot past Tomas Vokoun. But talking about Formula 1 race cars, Teemu Selanne, of course, loves automobiles and has been friends with a number of Finnish race car drivers.
Especially the Formula One former champ, Miikka Hakkinen. Those two, pardon the pun, fast friends. And nowadays, Kimi Räikkönen is the man who yesterday beat Michael Schumacher in Belgium, and that was a screaming headline, along with the World Cup opener in Helsinki. A global event. ESPN very busy in the next couple of weeks with this World Cup tournament on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Broadband. Live events on ESPN Broadband around the Labor Day holiday.
And you see the Finns just playing it safe, dumping it in as soon as they get over the red line and making the quick change. They're going to play a very conservative 11.5 minutes now, right down to the wire.
Both of these teams are saying the most important game in the round robin, not necessarily the 3 in round robin play, but the first in the quarterfinal rounds. They want home ice, so losses can be very important early in this tournament. Kimmo Timonen with a blazer right on. Rebound, score! Miikka Eloranta.
Well, Miikka Eloranta gets probably the prettiest goal of this game so far. There was the blast by Timonen, and Eloranta was quick to jump on the rebound. Take another look at it. A big blast. Vokoun can't control this rebound. We talked about it earlier in the game. Vokoun controlling every rebound like a Michelin man. That puck just ending up in the pillows in his stomach. But that blast was so hard by Kimmo Timonen that a rebound came right out like a super ball. Eloranta jumped right on the rebound.
Mikko Eloranta, 32 years old. He grew up skating on a river nearby here to Helsinki. Grew up skating with his dad at age 4. He's on the scoreboard for Team Finland. They're in runaway fashion right now. 4-0 leaders against the Czech Republic. Vyborny looking to answer back, dribbles it into the corner, little give-and-go play that never materialized. To the front, Vyborny deadened by Kiprusoff, and then Elias turned it away. Havlat with a sneak attack. That was shut off by Kiprusoff. Zidlitsky way up from his offensive point position. The Czechs have to go for broke, trailing by a boatload here in the third. Vyborny keeping it moving for Havlat, to the front for Zidlitsky, and that was answered again by Niinema. Solani will scoop it out. Lehtinen will help it all the way down. Icing will be washed.
That Finnish team working extremely hard to try to keep the shutout for Kiprusoff and, of course, ensure that they win. There is still 10 minutes to go in this third period, and the Czechs do have an explosive offensive team. However, so far in this game, Joe, they just haven't put in the effort to win a hockey game against a team like the Finns that have been such bulldogs.
You'd have to imagine Raimo Suominen is barking at his guys. No penalties. Don't give them any life with power play chances here in the third. This has been a Czech team, for the most part, that's been asleep in this hockey game. Hayduk, give and go with Wasicek. The pass was a bad one. Room 2 comes out of there along with Peltonen to clear down. Line change on the go.
You see it again. Get the puck in and get off quick. That's what the Finns are doing.
Wasicek across 2 lines, offsides. All Finland in Helsinki in the World Cup of Hockey opener. Mikko Eloranta on the score sheet from Timonen and Mikko Koivu at 8:51. Floodgates have opened for Team Finland in period 3. Neil Smith, as a former World Cup GM with Team Canada, if your team was in this position, how would you adjust the mindset for the Czechs before their next outing?
Well, they've just got their coach, Rosichka, has just got to get in there and give them what for after this game and say, guys, that kind of an effort. And, you know, we'll be ending up in 4th place behind even Germany, because clearly they just haven't had the tenacity of the Finns.
Hagman racing in. They are roaring inside Hartwall Arena. The wave is crashing around the stands. Nearly 14,000 strong are loving it.
And the penalty coming up here to the Czechs. Marek Malik gets the hook right there, pulls him down. Don Koharski right on the scene. Malik doesn't even squabble about this one. He just heads straight off to the penalty box. So the giant Malik will serve 2 minutes. We'll see if the Finn power play can get going again in this third period.
Marek Malik, 7+ years in the Hartford, Carolina organization. Teppo Numminen works the line through a screen. Vokoun the stop, under siege again. Lettinen in there trying to pounce on the rebound. Saku Koivu along with Kimmo Timonen in deep. Jere Lettinen plays back to the point. Teppo Numminen will operate. Through the screen, deflected wide. Solane clamps onto it. 6 power plays for Finland, just 1 for the Czech Republic. A 4-0 lead for the guys in blue. Koivu plays patty cake with Solane. Teemu drifts behind the goal. Saku Koivu's one-timer was blocked aside. Saku Koivu, no pressure coming to him. Trying to isolate against Elias. Koivu back for Numminen. Teppo Numminen to the goal mouth. It skitters wide. Fischer keeps it moving, and this one leaves the rink. Very, very low glass here in Hartwall Arena in Helsinki.
Yeah, it is on the ends of the ice. It's about average on the sides of the rinks. We take a look at Teemu Solane, who's played, I think, exceptionally well tonight. But at the end zones, compared to the National Hockey League, extremely short, and the puck goes into that netting quite often.
Neil, were you shocked to see Teemu drop below 20 goals this year in Colorado? Everybody thought that that would be a real firebrand of hockey for him.
Well, we did, and certainly he did not have a good year. And when we spoke to him here, I don't think he enjoyed his season with the Colorado Avalanche.
He was very much looking forward to pulling on that Suomi jersey, the native term for Finland. And Team Finland has been very sharp in leading the Czech Republic 4-0 with a little less than 8 minutes to go in regulation. Billy Peltonen has been one of the guys leading the charge against the Czechs.
There you take a look down the Czech bench to take a look and try to see if there's any emotion going on that bench, but not too much. They probably know that they're going to have to chalk this game up and move on to their next contest.
The opener of the 2004 Toyota World Cup of Hockey. Along with Neil Smith, I'm Joe Beninati. We're in Helsinki, Finland for this one. Canada and the U.S., the Canadians, the reigning Olympic champs, 2-time world champs, going against the United States tomorrow, the defending World Cup champion. And it was interesting, back in '96, there wasn't a single Canadian on the all-tournament team for the World Cup. 4 Americans and 2 Swedes. I think that'll be different this time around. Niinema fires. It takes its bumpy way right to the chest of Vokoun. Power play for another 20 seconds for the Finns. This time it is Dupita to clear.
I was looking at that all-star squad just yesterday and who had made it, and you're right, with the 4 U.S. players, guys like Mike Richter and Chris Chelios were on that team, and it'll be interesting to see what turns up this year. As I said, they are hurting on defense, the U.S. is.
And from a participation standpoint, almost half of that team in '96 is back for Ron Wilson in 2004. Friends, it's time for us to take a look at the Sam Adams tournament update. The United States, the defending champs, as we were just discussing back in '96. Canada, this World Cup spawned from the Canada Cup. The Canadians won 4 of it, 6, including that memorable one in '87. Finland's highest finish in a Canada Cup / World Cup, 3rd in '91. Remember back to '87, those games against the Soviets. 3-6-5 games in that best of 3 between Canada and the Soviets. Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky were phenomenal.
Those 2 guys were right in their prime, and they were fantastic.
Kimmo Timonen will waltz back through center, and the dump and chase continues for the Finns. Just over 6 to go in the 3rd, and Finland cruising. Jukka Hentunen got it started for Team Finland back in the 1st. It was a low-scoring game. 3 tallies for the Finns in period 3 if you're just tuning in with us. Sikora layers it into the corner. Radek Dvorak leaves it behind the goal. Mikko Koivu will keep it moving. Skula keeping it in the attack zone for the Czechs. But with a hand pass, we hear the whistle.
And all these Finns want to do is get it out over the blue line. They got 5 minutes and 48 seconds to go in this game.
Break time for us. More in a moment. Game 1 of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey in 2004. It continues, and it's winding its way towards its conclusion with Team Finland in front of the Czech Republic 4-0. Neil, you addressed this at the top of the telecast. What the Czech Republic focus would be like in the wake of the loss of their head coach. tragically killed in an automobile accident, Ivan Holinka, 2 weeks ago.
And you wondered whether or not that tragedy would bring more focus to the tournament and more intensity for the Czech team, as it did for the Atlanta Thrashers in this National Hockey League season. I think they rallied around their tragedy and really had a tremendous first half of the season. Bob Hartley did a tremendous job with his squad. In this tournament, however, in this game tonight, boy, the Czechs look out of focus.
And it's strange because we got the sense from them during the day here in Helsinki that they were going to use as inspiration and use it as a battle cry, play and win for Ivan Holinka. And it has not been the best effort by far for this team in white. Long way to go, though, in this tournament. As it was pointed out, you can go 0-3 in the round-robin play and still win this tournament.
Absolutely.
If you get hot at the right time.
That's it. This is all about getting home ice in the playoff games, these games in the round-robin series. But, you know, talking to people who went into both dressing rooms, the Finns and the Czechs, like we did, I do think that you saw more intensity on the face of the Finns, you know, more what it takes in a pre-game skate than you did in the Czech team.
Agreed. I agree, definitely. And as a result, we've seen it play out on the scoreboard. This World Cup of hockey to be played in 6 different nations, and ESPN has you covered every step of the way. Glad you've tuned in with us for this one with a little over 4 to go in what has been a convincing performance for Team Finland. Spot check, overlapping with Viborny. David Viborny will clear it in. Kiprusoff with the traffic instructions for Timonen, and he was thumped immediately there. Olli Jokinen trying to reverse his field. Havlat fed him to the glass. Martin Havlat pinwheels one to the goal mouth. It's loose there, and Tuomo Ruutu will race away. Ville Peltonen with him. Peltonen closing in. Ruutu with a wrister that's deflected. Delayed penalty call coming.
Dan Kohorski is going to make this penalty on Elias. It's going to be a 2-minute for yapping penalty. He was giving it to Kohorski all the way up the ice. Patrick Elias was. So he gets 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. He didn't like the fact that he was taken down in front of that man, Miikka Kiprusoff.
If I've done my bookkeeping right, Neil, this will be the 7th time that Finland's gone on the power play compared to just 1 for the Czechs.
Well, I hope you're doing your bookkeeping right, because we're certainly not getting any stats up in this booth from anybody. But I know you're a good stat keeper, and we're depending a lot on your bookkeeping. How about the new jerseys for the referees they're wearing? And then I don't know if that's something they're going to wear this season in the national. But it's a totally different look.
Sort of spiffy, and if it were more beige, we'd think old school.
And this is coincidental penalties. Jokinen is also in there, Joe.
So matching minors will bring us to some 4-on-4 hockey. With all these great skaters and playmakers, some open ice for Kimmo Timonen. Little give and go to the front with Saku Koivu. Just over 3 minutes to play in period 3. Solane parked behind the cage. Zidlitsky calls on him. Koivu to the front, right on by. It will be Finland to retreat. For the Finns, next in action, you and I will see them against Sweden. Or check that, we'll see them against Germany in Cologne. The German hockey fans are thrilled to have World Cup action in their barn. Remember back in '96, it was the Germans who pounded the Czech Republic 7-1.
I was at that game, and they really did pound them. But again, the Czechs didn't show up in that game. There's no way a German team should be able to have beaten that team 7-1, even though the game was in Germany. It'll be interesting, though, the Finns and the Germans when they get going, because the German team isn't a team that can be taken lightly. I mean, you've got to go out and play extremely hard against them. They'll give out a great effort. There's a few NHL players on that team, and they're going to be ready for this Finnish team.
In white, here come the Czechs. Czech Republic stubbed its toe back in Prague in the 2004 World Championships. They were upset by Team USA on home ice. That was a very bitterly received defeat. Tuomo Ruutu cruising in. Ruutu fires, blocked by Malik. They are roaring their approval inside Hartwall Arena in Helsinki. The Finnish fans are loving this. Ruutu with Malik draped over the top. Spot check leads the Czechs out of their own end. Havlat just scoops it back into the Finnish defensive zone. Niinema and Salo have been very tight Jani Niinema was talking about the defensive package for this team needing to play close-knit. Ruutu with a blast. And that was knocked away as Vokoun never got a taste of that one. It is 4-0 for Team Finland. We remind fans everywhere to make a difference on September 7th. Show your spirit. It's simple. Wear your favorite team's apparel to work on September 7th. In exchange, each participant can make a donation of $5 or more to the V Foundation to benefit cancer research. Join ESPN and many other companies by declaring September 7th Show Your Spirit Day. For more information, log on to jimmyv.org.
What a great cause, too, to do something for the Jimmy V Foundation. I know my buddy John Saunders very involved with that foundation.
A foundation that's been near and dear to the heart of folks around ESPN for quite some time. Just over a minute away from the celebration to begin in earnest for the Finns. They're in cruise control. Tomorrow, our coverage of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey continues on both ESPN and ESPN2. At 1 Eastern, we've got Germany against Sweden. At 7, it's Canada against the United States. The Toyota World Cup of Hockey, Tuesday on ESPN at 1 and on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern Time. As it's approaching 10:30 here in Helsinki, Finland. A very enjoyable night for the Finnish hockey fans is winding down. Heyduk to the goal mouth, blocked away by Jarkko Ruutu. Jukka Hentunen got it started in the first, then 3 goals in the third. Koivu, Saku that is, Niko, Kapanen, and Mikko Eloranta in succession to blow this one open.
Well, the Finns are really getting into it now, Joe. They know they're only 45 seconds away from being in top spot in the World Cup hockey tournament. They'll be in first place. They're the only game going on tonight. Of course, they love this to beat the star-studded Czech team.
The Finnish team known for its work ethic. Saku Koivu on a takeaway, threw it to the front. 25 ticks remaining. The Finnish team that expects to be relying upon its net minding. Miikka Kiprusoff really didn't have to work all that hard in this one. But right now, he's 13 seconds away from something special. As they rise to their feet inside of Hartwall Arena. 2 seconds. And this one with the final horn sounding goes Finland's way. 4-0 in the books.
Well, in the Finnish Elite League, this is the home of the jokers, and the Finnish national team wasn't joking tonight when they came out against the Czechs. A great effort, a great game plan by Raimo Suminen's team. They came out and went really hard right off the bat at the Czechs. That's what they had to do. They kept on them and on them, very close to the Czech star-studded team. And the Czechs just didn't put in the effort that they would have needed.
And I know you like Finland's poise. They were very poised in this one tonight, as they hope to continue that throughout this World Cup tournament. Our final score from Helsinki, 4-0 for Team Finland. Coverage of the World Cup of Hockey continues tomorrow on ESPN. Germany against Sweden, that's next at 1 Eastern. Today's game's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Coming up next, NFL Films presents The Times of Our Lives, as we send you back to the studios and bid you good night from Helsinki.
From Helsinki to Connecticut, Barry Melrose, David Amber. The Finns pour in 3 goals in the third, and they win their World Cup opener 4-0. Barry, what surprised you most about this game?
The Finns didn't score more against that terrible Czech team. The Czechs got what they deserved, and that was nothing. But what surprised me was the Czechs were not emotional at all. Their coach, Ivan Malenko, was just killed in a car crash. You'd think they'd come up fired up. They want to play great in honor of his memory, and they just threw an egg out there. They were not intense at all. They won no physical battles. The Finns were by far the best team, and the Czechs got to do some soul-searching. Yes, it doesn't mean nothing, David, this round-robin game, but it's not a great way to start a tournament showing no emotion, showing no guts and no heart in this first game.
And for the Czechs, it's from the frying pan into the fire because they're playing Sweden in Stockholm on Wednesday. Loads of stuff happening on ESPN, including at 6 o'clock Eastern. It is SportsCenter. Dan Patrick and Mike Greenberg, the top stories they're working on. Kurt Warner's teammates are going to weigh in about Kurt being handed the #1 job in New York. And what about the vets, Dion, etc.? How good are they going to be? We'll examine that. The Buffs, are they better with Gary Barnett? Full stories coming your way on SportsCenter. We'll wrap it up right here in the World Cup of Hockey next. The World Cup of Hockey is underway. Finland, an impressive 4-0 win on the Czech Republic today in Helsinki, Finland. Barry, Melrose, David Amber. Barry, 8 teams, 1 world champion. The North American division, maybe the most interesting situation right now, where you have Canada, the U.S., Slovakia, and Russia. What expectations do you have out of those teams?
Well, I think all 4 of those teams could win. I think they're all great teams. I think the Slovakian team is the underdog team in the tournament as far as I'm concerned. I think this team could win and beat these teams. If you don't show up against this team with guys like Hossa on there, with guys, the depth of this team, they got tons of guys that can score, although they were given a blow with Peter Bondra getting hurt. That'll certainly hurt that team. But the Slovakians are tough, the Americans are tough, of course, and the Russians are always tough.
The defending champions, the Americans, but the one problem here, they don't have Mike Richter. What about those American goaltenders?
They've been spoiled for a long time with Mike Richter in net. Matter of fact, he was the MVP, as they mentioned, the last time the World Cup was played for. They've got young goaltenders. Yes, Esch, DiPietro, Ty Conklin, they're all NHL goalies. They're all young goalies. They're all talented goaltenders, but none of them have been on the world stage having to win a game for the United States in situations like this. Darian Hatcher is not there. He's hurt. Snyder could not come because of contract situations. Leopold got hurt also, so they're not the strong defensive team they once were. These young goaltenders are going to see a ton of pucks. They're going to see a lot of action in front of them, especially when they're playing the Canadians and the Russians, which are going to have to beat to get out of the first pool. A lot of pressure on goaltending. As I said, they've been spoiled for a long time with Mike Richter in net. On the other side of the coin, the Canadian team has so many weapons, so many great players, so much depth. But the one guy I think for the Canadians that really has to come through is Joel McGinley. We're talking about him being the best player in the world now. Peter Forsberg certainly can attest to that mantle also. But McGinley was great in the playoffs for Calgary, got his team to finals. Is it his time now to lead this Canadian team? Mario Lemieux's there, but I think McGinley is the go-to guy for Canada now. The Slovakian team I mentioned, they got a lot of weapons, they got a lot of offensive players, but I think Hossa is their best offensive player. I think when they need a goal or a big play offensively, I think it's going to be Marian Hossa of the Ottawa Senators who has to get it, take the pressure off the younger Slovak players. He's great, he can score, he's huge physically, can win a lot of physical battles. He won't be intimidated by the size of the people in that pool. But Hossa is their best player. The Russian team, I think their problem is coaching. A lot of the Russian players did not want to come. Habib Bulin did not want to come. Valery Bury did not come. Zidnik did not come. They got a lot of problems in that dressing room, the Russian players. I think the coaching staff really has to pull this group together, get chemistry in the dressing room, get them all pulling on the same rope. This is as talented a team as there is in the world, but I really think the coaching staff of the Russians has a big test for them to get that dressing room one-sided.
And we saw the other division going today, and that would be the Pool B out of Europe, of course, with the teams we saw in Finland and in the Czech Republic. And Sweden, of course.
Got Peter Forsberg with the Swedes. The goaltending of the Swedes, much maligned. Remember the situation last Olympics with Tommy Saddle giving up that long shot. And the Germans are led by Kolzig in net. If he plays well, they're going to be competitive, game in and game out.
It's going to be great. We have a double dip tomorrow starting at ESPN at 1 o'clock Eastern. And it's the U.S. and Canada on the deuce. We hope to see you tomorrow as the World Cup of Hockey keeps rolling on. NFL Films is rolling your way next here on ESPN. Thanks for dropping by.